India, the world's most populous country, often presents itself on the global stage as a leading democratic superpower, a secular, pluralist nation where the rule of law reigns supreme, a nation demanding a seat on the UN Security Council. Yet, for millions of its citizens, particularly marginalised minorities and lower castes, this claim often rings hollow, overshadowed by systemic prejudice, historical violence, and a persistent lack of accountability. India's post-independence history reveals a pattern of state action that undermines its democratic credentials, with the persecution of the Sikh minority standing as a particularly stark example. The foundational challenge to India's claim of equality before the law is the enduring and deeply entrenched caste system. Though legally abolished by the Constitution in 1950, caste continues to dictate social, economic and political destiny, particularly in rural areas. The system creates a powerful, inherited hierarchy that limits the democratic voice and power of the majority of lower castes, including Dalits. And let's not forget, it was the rejection of the evils of this very system by the first guru that established the Sikh religion itself. And since that time, the most chilling counter-narrative to India's democratic claim lies in the state's handling of the Sikh population, particularly in more recent times, the 1980s and 1990s. This period transformed Punjab, a state central to Sikh identity, into a theatre of state repression and mass violence. The crisis peaked in June 1984 with Operation Bluestar, that military assault ordered by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi on the Harmandir Sahib complex, the holiest site in Sikhism. A military action that resulted in the deaths of thousands of Sikhs, including numerous innocent pilgrims, and caused extensive damage to the spiritual heart of the Sikh faith. An act widely viewed by Sikhs globally as an unpardonable desecration and an assault on their identity. The outrage caused by Operation Bluestar led to Indira Gandhi's assassination by her 2 Sikh bodyguards 4 months later. And what followed, 41 years ago, was a systematic, state-orchestrated genocide against Sikhs across multiple Indian cities. Mobs, often led and incited by members of the ruling political party, targeted Sikhs for 3 days, burning people alive, raping women, and destroying homes and businesses. Estimates of up to nearly 20,000 innocents were callously murdered. The subsequent failure of the police to intervene, coupled with the judicial system's near-total failure to prosecute the high-ranking political figures implicated, has cemented a deep sense of betrayal and alienation within the Sikh community. Justice delayed is justice denied has become the prevailing mantra. The violence didn't end in 1984. Through the late 1980s and early 1990s, the Indian security forces pursued a brutal campaign against Sikhs in Punjab. Human rights organisations have extensively documented a widespread pattern of abuses, including arbitrary arrests, torture, disappearances and extrajudicial killings, often falsely reported as deaths in encounters. Organisations like Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International highlight that these were just not random acts, but the product of a deliberate policy known to high-ranking officials. The policy of impunity meant that security personnel responsible for the murder and torture of tens of thousands of Sikhs were rarely, if ever, held accountable. The subsequent promotions of many officers implicated in these atrocities underscore the systemic nature of the failure of India's so-called rule of law. The ambition to be a leading democratic superpower requires a nation to adhere not just to the form of democracy, free elections, but to its substance, equal justice, protection of minorities, and state accountability. The historical record of violence against Sikhs, the political impunity granted to its perpetrators, and the persistent oppression facilitated by the caste structure present a powerful argument that, for a significant portion of its population, India's democracy is functionally compromised. Or, to put it more simply, it just does not exist. Under the Brahmanical ruling elite of India, this will never change. Don't forget that many of these atrocities against Sikhs aren't buried in the annals of time. They occurred within living memory. Survivors of these outrageous genocides are alive today to tell their tale. In reality, these happened only a few years ago. India hasn't changed, nor will it. India still has a cohort of political prisoners, held forever in legal limbo deliberately by the ruling elite, simply because they dared to stand up and try to hold them accountable. Jaswant Singh Kalra was murdered by the Indian state for simply trying to hold them accountable. Amritpal Singh, the Bandi Singhs, even Jagtar Singh Johal, a British citizen held for 8 years without sentence for daring to gather evidence of India's genocide, stand testament to the fact India has not changed, nor will it ever change. The murders of Paramjit Singh Panjwar, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, Avtar Singh Kandar and the attempt on Gurpatwant Singh Pannoon, all planned by the Indian state, stand testament to the fact India has not changed, nor will it ever change. It's only now extended its murderous intent of Sikhs overseas. The rulers of India will never fully acknowledge, investigate or prosecute the systematic human rights violations of its past and dismantle the structures of social and political inequality. And thus, its global claim to being a beacon of the rule of law will remain nonsense. There is only one solution to this. There can only ever be one solution for Sikh people, whether those suffering in Punjab or those who fled for their lives in the diaspora. The establishment of a sovereign Sikh homeland, Khalistan, can only be the answer to provide a safe, secure future from the threat of the Indian state. Not a Sikh Raj, but a Sikhi Raj, a land steeped in the moral principles dictated by the Gurus that will be open and free for all, whatever their background, ethnicity or faith, a free and democratic state that will follow the rule of law. And it is morally beholden upon every Sikh, whether in the Punjab or across the diaspora, to actively campaign for this solution. The gentleman whose face sits behind me gave his life for this cause, as have many before and indeed after him. The heroic Shaheeds who offered the ultimate sacrifice for their Sikh principles and this fight for a free land of Khalistan. But Sikhs today don't have to offer their lives, but simply their service, simply their time, their efforts and their enthusiasm to peacefully and democratically fight for the Khalistan cause. Every Sikh must remind him or herself of the atrocities beaten down upon their people and ensure these outrages are never forgotten, for it's the burning memory of these that ignite the fire of passion that justifies the existence of Khalistan. 41 years ago, tens of thousands of Sikh men, women and children were massacred. Let's reshape the anger that atrocity detonated into something new, a passion for justice, a new justice, the establishment of a new free land, the land of Khalistan.